All right, just to make sure we're respecting everyone's time, we want to say thank all of you for attending this third session for Get On Board in these business presentations. Throughout the session, you're going to hear from a number of great organizations. Some are current contractors, others, not yet. And we hope that everyone here, learns a lot, learns about these organizations well, and as I've been saying most of the week, hope form some new partnerships. Next slide. As a housekeeping measure, as with this session and throughout the entire week, all of them are being recorded, and then they will be posted online following the event. We should have them all up next week. So if you do miss any portion of this, no need to completely write furiously. All of this information, the entire session, along with everything else this week, will be posted, and a link will be sent out. It'll be posted on both the Create and the 75th Street SIP program websites. So be aware of that. We do ask that any attendees, while you are not speaking, that you please have your cameras off and your speakers on mute, just to make sure that there's no background noise and we can really lock in on who's ever speaking. Please, for all attendees, submit your questions at the bottom of the page using the Q&A feature. We'll be monitoring questions throughout the entire event. We will be answering all the questions at the end of the session. So please take it, anything pops in, questions you have, whether it's very specific, more broad, about someone's experience, please use the Q&A. And like I said, we'll be monitoring those throughout the entire session. And then we'll have a moderated Q&A session at the end. And with that, again, thank you all. And I'd like to turn it over to Scott Perkins with Prairie, with Prairie Engineers.
Great, thank you, Keith. As Keith said, I'm Scott Perkins with Prairie Engineers. I serve as a GIS professional, and I assist with business development for our utilities and industry market sector. Next slide, please. A little bit about Prairie Engineers. We were formed in 2010. We're a woman-owned small business with our WBE and 8A certification as an economically disadvantaged woman-owned small from the Small Business Administration. We're at 55 employees and growing, with open hiring requisitions posted presently. We have a record of success and ongoing line of business with Illinois DOT and with the Capital Development Board. And we also have prior experience working with several of the Class 1 freight hauling railroads. Next slide, please. What we think is of interest for our service offerings to this audience is our engineering and environmental services and our surveying services. Looking at the CREATE program and at the guidance documents, we feel that phase 1 and phase 2 services are where we could assist and help as a small business subcontractor. We'd like to call some attention to our experience working on the Chicago to Quad Cities passenger rail line. We're involved with both the engineering design and hydraulic analysis of structures on that and on the environmental permitting. These slides will be available, as Keith mentioned, so I'm not going to read every bullet point to you, but we've been working on the Chicago to Quad Cities passenger rail for a little over 4 years now, and I'm proud of that experience. Next slide, please. Our surveying services, we work on both land and water. So as you can see in the center column, there's a picture of one of our hydrographic survey vessels. So we do underwater inspections, underwater imaging, single beam and multi-beam sonar collection, and bottom condition assessments with sub-bottom profilers. Our survey capabilities on the land side include 9 licensed land surveyors with licensure in 12 of the Midwestern states. So topographic surveying, construction, staking and layout, boundary surveying, ALTA surveys. If it requires a tripod and a guy with a vest and a helmet, we're there for you. Next slide, please. We have 7 offices in the Illinois, Iowa, Missouri region. So from those geographic locations, we have survey capabilities and engineering capabilities in each of those offices. So it gives us a nice large Midwestern footprint that aligns well with the rail services that were discussed on the opening session. So with that, that's a quick look at Prairie Engineers. These slides will be posted, so you'll have my phone number and my email addresses in the distribution list that have gone out for Create. So, thank you for this opportunity to give you a quick look at Prairie Engineers, and I will now turn it over to Michelle with Madison Security.
Thank you, Scott. Good morning and greetings from Madison Security, LLC. I am Michelle Millicent, and I am the owner of Madison Security, LLC, and I would like to thank the Create program for allowing me this opportunity to introduce my company and the services that we offer, and to partner with businesses for any of the upcoming projects. A little bit about our story. We are a small minority woman-owned security company that offer armed and unarmed guard and protection services. We help our clients to develop a comprehensive plan for job site safety and security, also while enhancing the safety of employees who are working at those sites. Next slide. Research and data show that thefts from construction sites and businesses account for $1 billion in annual losses for companies due to loss of supplies, materials, and the biggest cost is time. When thefts occur, you have to replace the supplies and materials as well as account for delays in productivity. Thefts will affect your project schedules and can also affect the relationship with your clients. While technologies such as camera systems and lighting are invaluable tools, criminals are also savvy and they are totally motivated to defeat those tools. I know for a fact that physical security guards will maximize any security effort in place, and I also know that visibility is a key deterrent for thefts. And with the presence of security guards, guards can always investigate activity in real time. At Madison Security, we provide a visible security service where our guards physically check vulnerable areas to prevent security breaches. Criminal activity can take place anywhere from outside threats as well as internal company threats and breaches. Our guards also utilize a barcode scan system for periodic checks throughout the work sites and businesses to provide real-time instances. Next slide. Madison Security employees are fully background checked and randomly drug tested. Our employees are in company uniforms at all times with identifiers for visibility. Our employee personnel include off-duty law enforcement personnel, personnel that are licensed and certified from local accredited security schools, and I've also partnered with HireVet.org to employ our retired veterans. Next slide, please. I bring to this company 20 years of law enforcement experience, and I also use my experience to enhance my employees. My certifications include MBE, WBE, and DBE City of Chicago, the Illinois Tollway SBI program, the Illinois Unified Certification Program DBE, and the State of Illinois Central Management Services WMBE. In part, I will state that the overall goal in site security is to prevent losses occurring from criminal activity. Also, in all of your financial decisions, the cost of added site security must be balanced against the cost of thefts. Consider Madison Security to help deter those increased costs and to help deter the increased cost of your insurance premiums when you have to file theft claims. My contact information will be posted. Thank you so much for your listening ear. And now I would like to introduce Jennifer of Jacobs.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm talking about Jacobs Engineering. You can see my contact information right here, so you're welcome to get a hold of me as we give questions as we proceed through my slides here. So next slide. I wanted to emphasize some of the things that Jacobs does to live our promise of diversity and inclusion. So on the right part of the slide, you'll see all of Jacob's internal organizations related to diversity and inclusion. So you can see we have we're a part of Black and Brown organizations, where we have Jacob's Women's Network, and for all of these, for climate change, for all of these different groups, we have set meetings and networking events. So it's a really great opportunity for Jacobs to support all of the inclusion and all the people that we have working for us. We are about 50,000 people internationally. We also have on the left side, this is Jacobs' external outreach to include diversity and inclusion. So if you're a DBE and want to learn more about us, there's a survey link that will be sent with the slides. So you can definitely get in there and find out some more information. We have a general session with an industry day. Jacob shares overview and corporate values. We have breakout sessions by market sector. So we look forward to hearing from you and having you learn more about us. Next slide. All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of our projects. So what we have going on right now on the upper left is our Amtrak nationwide contract. So our Amtrak nationwide contract, Jacobs manages, procures, and administrates part of the full design and construction of projects, such as facility maintenance, bridge replacements, track work, security enhancements, and station improvements. So that's one of the projects that we're currently involved in. On the upper right, you see the NICD project. So the NICD project is the Northern Indiana Commuter Transit District. So this is for the West Lake Corridor, which is a new corridor. We're working with FH Passion. It's a design build. Jacobs is responsible for an 8-mile long West Lake Corridor extension of the South Shore line and the Metro Electric District. And that will increase access for the growing area of Lake County in Indiana to connect it to Chicago. It's an existing double track and relocated to Hammond, and a third track will be added to connect the Westlake extension to Dyer. So that's just a little bit of information about that really large project that we're heavily involved in right now. On the lower left is the 130th and Torrance. NS, we work for Norfolk Southern on this one, so we do work for a number of the Class 1 railroads. For this one, we did plan review and construction inspection of a new grade separation, which replaced 2 existing at-grade crossings. It was a 400-foot-long double track through truss span bridge, as you see here. So that was a really interesting project to work on. On the bottom right, some of you may be familiar with this, the CTA RPM project, which is going on right now on the north side. It's a 10-mile stretch of rail. It's a $1.3 billion work in the phase 1 alone to rebuild 4 stations, track, and support structures. So we're a part of a joint venture to provide construction-related support services. Next slide, please. And now I'd like to talk a little bit about another project that we have going on, which directly involves Metra and the CREATE partners, which includes IDOT and many of the freight railroads. So it's an enormous project going on right now. We're in design. So design commenced in September of 2020. So we really are just kind of hitting the starting line of our 24-month design phase. The portion of this project that we're working on, which is P2, is part of 75th Street Corridor. But P2 in particular will connect the Southwest Service line that Metra has to the Rock Island District line, so that Metra will have a dedicated line that is not as impacted by freight as it currently has been. We currently have 9 DBE partners that are working with us on this project. So we're really proud to have these partners help us with things like community outreach, educational outreach in the community. We also have subs working on all the other important elements, such as structural, civil, electrical, survey, geotech, vibration monitoring, and permitting and utilities. So those are some really important things that we're currently working on with this project. All right, so hold on a second. I'm not sure where my Zoom window just went. Oh. All right, I seem to have lost my Zoom window. Oh, There it is. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so we are, as I said, with P2 and with other projects, we are committed to developing and promoting our DBE partners. And as part of that goal, we have, for instance, the Illinois Tollway Master Plan. That's one of the projects where we promote our DBE University. We're also going to be doing this on P2. It offers our DBE firms that we're teamed with classes on select topics to be held typically within our office. So we're hoping COVID will, be a little bit better in the future, and we'll be able to get those DBEs back in our office to offer these as part of P2. The Tollway one that we did was the recipient of the 2017 HACIA Mentor Protege Program Award. So we continue to enjoy doing this and hope to continue it in the future. And if you'd like to be considered as part of Jacobs supplier registration, please go to our website. Again, this will be in the slides that will be emailed out to you. So thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate being able to share a little bit about Jacobs with you today.
All right, thank you very much. Now we're going to turn it over to Jose with assurance.
Thank you, Jack, and making sure my mute button is turned off before I speak. So good morning, everybody. My name is Jose Suarez. I am a risk management consultant with Assurance. Assurance is an independent broker where we help our clients secure the commercial insurance policies that they need to work with federal and state agencies. I personally work with MBE, DBE, and WBE firms. Assurance was established in 1961. Our very first client was Plody Construction. From there, we have delved deep into the construction industry and have made a name for ourselves in that industry. I specifically work with my clients to help secure larger contracts, fulfill the insurance requirements, perform risk analysis for the risk management programs. We do have in-house services as well, such as surety and bonding, safety services, and a risk transfer team for general contractors that utilize a lot of subs. So we are very heavily involved in the construction industry. And I myself am involved both in HACIA, the CAGC, and the IHCC. Next slide, please. So a little bit about our expertise. When we say that Assurance does construction, it's pretty much all we do in my department, my focus. We exist to make our clients better, to protect them, and to give them the keys so they can continue to have tremendous success and continue to grow their company. So you'll see that we have about 80 insurance professionals dedicated solely to construction. That makes up the team of account managers, client service representatives, safety professionals, and claim advocates. We have about 6 safety advocates dedicated to construction. These safety advocates are individuals that perform on-site safety inspections, safety audits, can revamp safety manuals, and can help with any OSHA requirements as well. We have over 59 years serving the construction industry, with Plody being one of our largest clients. We have about 40 plus workers' compensation markets that we can access for our clients as well. We have 6 OSHA trainings and in-house safety teams. Prior to COVID, we did host OSHA 30 hours, OSHA 10 hours in person, both in English and in Spanish for our clients, open to them as well. We have about 650 plus clients nationwide. This is not the number of total clients. This is the number of total construction clients that we have at Assurance. We place over $250 million worth of premiums for our clients, and 100% of every staff member, every service person that we have is CRIS designated, which means they're a construction risk insurance specialist designated. We know construction, we know how to respond to construction, we know how to respond to contracts, we know how to issue certificates that will allow you to continue to work and focus on what you need to do, which is your building, planning, designing, and then we'll take care of the insurance portion of it for you. Next slide, please. Our industry focus. Heavily involved with general contractors. We represent some of the largest names: Novak, Krasinski, George Solid. Those are our clients. Artisan contractors. We also help out, which would consist of any subcontractors that are working on behalf of any primes, any GCs. We also represent specialty contractors, whether it be niche industries such as foam insulation, bridges, road work. Street and road is another heavy player. We are heavily involved in RATDA. We have a big focus there. We service both commercial and residential projects, both union and non-union. We're really heavily into environmental construction as well, with your professional liability policies, your errors and omissions, your pollution policies. We have an entire department that can analyze those for you as well. Your underground contractors, those that are working underground, whether it's sewer placement, wiring, cabling. We also have a dedicated team that focuses on that. And then real estate development as well, builders, owners. We can implement CSIP and wrap-up projects for companies. We can help subs that are enrolling into CSIP and wrap-up projects to ensure that they're not being, the insurance companies aren't double dipping for any of their costs as well. And again, our focus is construction. We help our clients with general liability policies, workers' comp policies, umbrella policies, property policies, builders risk, you name it. I believe there was a reference to tools or material being stolen on the job site. Our policies would cover that, and we would represent you for any claims that you need for that as well. Next slide, please. So Assurance is not just a broker that's going to help you obtain your policies. We're much more than that. We'll be able to assess a complete risk management program for you. What tends to happen with subcontractors and general contractors is once they get to a stage where they get into the idea of scaling or in growth mode, and you have multiple projects that start to happen, this is the prime time where accidents, injuries can occur. We want to be there for you to manage those claims, to assess your risk, to make sure that you continue to grow without any impediments. We can do MON analysis, we can do EMR projections out up until 18 months to help you with that as well. You have enough on your plate from the construction industry itself, with increasing material costs, with litigation and disputes, with safety challenges. You can lean on us to help you with those. We have a complex legal team. We have an in-house safety team. We can help you respond to any type of claim that takes place. And we can also assess your policies to make sure that they are compliant or that you're safeguarded against anything that's taking place now with COVID-19 and the impact of that on the workers' comp side, professional liability policies, and so forth. Next slide, please. I'll leave this slide up just for about 30 seconds so everyone can read it. Jerry Ball, who's the CFO of Skender Construction. Skender has been a client of ours for over 10 years. Skender started as a small GC firm when they first came on to Assurance. Fast forward the clock now, and they're one of the largest GCs, leading GCs here in the Chicagoland area. When Skender first came over, it was, piecing together the program. Now they have a very sophisticated program. We can help clients from startup stage up until multi-million-dollar revenue stage. We have markets that will respond to both any type of growth mode or any type of stage that a company is in. And we have the type of markets that you wouldn't have required to leave your current broker because you're in growth mode, because you're taking on new projects. We can help you along the way with each step of the way, whether it's through safety, whether it's through risk transfer, whether it's through a risk analysis, or whether it's just competing out your current program with all our other markets to see if we can save you money on your insurance costs. So please look to us for any type of assistance. The next slide, please. This is my contact information. You can reach me via mobile number. You can reach me via email, LinkedIn, or Twitter. I just want to say I see two clients that we have here, so I want to give them a shout out. Tiffany Flame from Biofoam has been a client for ours for many years, and we've partnered up together, and thank you for your trust. And then I also see Empire Construction on here, Lubna Khan. She came aboard to Assurance effective January of this year, so thank you for your partnership. And that's all I've got to share for you today about Assurance. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me about my company, about what I do. And up next, my good friend, Jillian Garcia from Valdez Engineering.
Thank you very much, Jose. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone who's joining us this morning. I see that there's quite a bit of participation, and I know you have busy schedules and things to do. So I'll be rounding it out today with the last presentation, but I really appreciate your attention and assisting this morning's presentation. I'm Jillian Garcia with Valdez Engineering Company, and I am the manager of external affairs here. So my role is to build relationships with the associations we belong to, especially those that help promote supplier diversity. So we're quite active with the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council, ASEA, the Hispanic American Construction Industry Association, as well as the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And in addition to those roles, I also help build relationships with our clients, identify new project opportunities that we can support them on, identify some of their needs where they might need some assistance, and also build relationships with the public at large. We are a 200-person firm. We provide engineering, project management, and other technical services to various clients. Our markets include, in addition to the work we are focused on at the federal, state, and local levels, we are focused in the markets of chemicals, oil and gas, utilities, and life sciences as well. And so these are some of the companies that we've worked with in the past and currently work with. Our company is family owned. We were founded in 1992 by Robert Valdez. He immigrated to the United States from Cuba, so we are a Hispanic MBE, and his family and him continue to run the business to today. They're very involved and they're focused on customer satisfaction, and you can clearly see that in their work ethic and the time they're spending with us, working alongside of us. So we actually still work with the very first client we had in 1992, and we do have about 85% of repeat business, which I think is a testament to their focus on client satisfaction, making certain that they are working in their client's best interest. And you can go ahead to the next slide, please. Here you'll see a little bit about our record of safety success. And so our focus, number one priority, is on safety for our colleagues. Here you'll see that we have an EMR rating that's well below industry average and has been for quite a while. We have 0 OSHA recordables in the past 10 years, and that's after working about 3,500,000 work hours. Our TRI rating is 0, and we have a dedicated director of safety. And many people might say, well, that's because you're an engineering firm, you're in the office. And that's actually not the case in all instances, because we do have quite a large percentage of our staff that's working seconded on site. So they are encountering situations where they need to have an eye out for safety, and they're making certain that they're getting through their day, doing their work correctly at a high quality level, but also making certain that they're safe when they return home at the end of the day. We do execute work coast to coast. We are based in the Chicagoland area in Lombard, but we do have offices in Indiana and Louisville and Houston, but we do execute work nationwide. And so there are various projects. We even have seconded staff in different places around the country. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. So these are some of our engineering and design services. You'll see first that these are our capabilities as it refers to phases of different projects. So we're able to start from the beginning, maybe doing feasibility studies or something to set you up for success. Of course, we can do the detail engineering, design type work that's necessary to make certain that a project is set up correctly. We are able to manage that project as far as project management goes, make certain that there's any construction support you might need, inspection services. So we'll follow that project through as long as you need us, or if you just want us to stop in for a certain phase of the project, we can also execute that work as well. Here are some of our top core services. So you'll see our CSA engineering, piping and plant layout, stress analysis, instrumentation controls, mechanical and electrical engineering as well. And we have other engineering disciplines too. These are just the top ones I wanted to highlight today. Some of our additional services as well, something that's been pretty interesting to people, especially in this current environment, has been laser scanning and 3D modeling to limit field visits. And so this is something that we started early 2000s, and we have been developing the knowledge. I know technology has brought the cost of this down, but we've been in it since the beginning, and we have quite developed knowledge to be able to integrate this into our design process. We can also do procurement services, project controls and scheduling, and adding staff if needed to projects. Go ahead, you can advance to the next slide. And then I'm just going to go quickly through a couple of our project profiles, especially those that have been focused around railroad work. So this first one is a propane loading rack. So we were responsible for adding 8 new loading locations that were fitting into the existing model. Something Valdez does really well is we are good at evaluating existing conditions and then changing or updating or renovating or adapting things to meet new regulations. So retrofitting things, that's where we really excel at making certain that existing conditions are understood and then updated to where you need them to be. And then also solving problems. So if there's an issue, you'll see that in the last project I'm going to highlight, there's a problem that needs to be addressed that's causing maybe an issue with safety for people who are operating in that area, then that's where we come in and we make certain we identify the issue and solve it. In this propane loading rack, we were adding, like I said, the new loading locations and then a new rail spur extension as well as the piping required. So here you'll see capabilities, including project management, process engineering, instrumentation and controls, electrical, mechanical, and CSA engineering. The next one is a rail car coal unloading facility. This is where we brought our laser scanning and 3D modeling into play. So you'll see that that was used. That actually is a model right there on the left-hand side. So the capabilities here were the CSA engineering, mechanical, structural analysis, and design using that 3D package. And then we wanted to make certain that nothing moving forward would be an issue as far as the coal getting stuck in the chute, so they performed some discrete element modeling as well. You can go ahead and move along to the next slide. So at the top of this slide is a synthetic gypsum rail unloading facility. So you see that it's quite a heavy duty setup there. And so we brought our knowledge to help build the new synthetic gypsum unloading facility. So it included civil work of about a 1.5 mile track loop into the new facility, and then the design of conveyors and hoppers, as well as the design of a 50-foot deep concrete unloading pit. And so we brought into this detail engineering, project scheduling, and procurement. So those are evidenced in this project. And finally, the sulfur loading project. This was where we came in and solved a problem. The operators were being exposed to too much H2S. And so we wanted to limit that during loading operations and of course, improve the fall protections for them as well. And so we performed the engineering services, including project management, process, electrical controls, mechanical, piping, and structural engineering to make certain that that was made safe and good for the operators there. You can end up on our last slide, I believe. I just wanted to thank everyone, especially the CRATE program, for hosting us today. I know I imagine I'm speaking on behalf of all of the other companies as well when I say that this was a great opportunity to gain exposure, but also to meet other companies in this space. So if you saw anything, basically from here, we can do 3 things. If you saw anything that would be of interest to your company, definitely contact me. My contact information is there and I can help set up a capabilities presentation. If you saw a technology that you thought would be interesting and you want our company to maybe do a lunch and learn, we can do it virtual. Please contact me and let me know. Or if there's anything, let's say you just specifically want to talk to somebody, I can connect you with that person within our organization and make certain that you get some information about what you're looking to do. And that about wraps it up. I'm going to turn it over to Chrissy, who is going to round out the day today with some questions and answers.
Great, thank you so much, Jillian. Just a reminder to those of us who are listening in, if you do have any questions, please submit them through the Q&A chat. We're not going to be having any sort of raising your hands or unmuting. Additionally, if you don't have any questions now, but you think of them over the next few days or weeks, feel free to send us an email to info@createprogram.org. My team is actively monitoring those and will respond to emails through that medium. Additionally, createprogram.org is a great resource. That's our website. And at the bottom of createprogram.org is a little contact us tab, which you can also use to reach us. Just to kind of, reiterate what Jillian said, thank you to everyone for being here. I know that kind of the final morning of a conference is always kind of a rough morning. Even if we didn't all go out together last night, it's still kind of the final push. And so I'm really excited to see that we have over 70 folks on the call right now. And I've actually been watching that number rise throughout the presentation. So it's been fun to see the numbers growing. So again, thank you all for joining. If anyone does have questions, please go ahead and enter them into the chat. In the meantime, I'm going to read a few we've received so far. So one question that I have, this is actually for assurance. Does your company help with construction railroad liability insurance? So you can feel free, panelists, to unmute yourself. And yeah, thank you.
So I'll take that question. We do. Railroad liability insurance is needed when we're working with about 100 feet of any railroad track, usually required by either Metra, CTA. There's two ways you can go around getting this policy. You can either get a standalone policy because your current general liability is excluding any exposure to railroads. That's the more expensive route, is getting an independent policy for railroad liability. The easiest and most cost-effective way is to work with the carrier to get that exclusion removed and to get an endorsement in place that will allow you to work within that railroad project. So anywhere, even if you're as close as 25 feet, that's when things can kind of get hairy. But typically within even 100 feet, whether you're doing any underground work, overhead work, doesn't matter. If you're close to the railroad, you're going to be required to carry that coverage.
Jose, I'm really glad you're on the call today, because oftentimes I know that DBEs and firms looking to get into railroad work often are sort of the insurance requirements seen as a big barrier and kind of a big fear. So I'm glad to see that you seem to be our resident expert. And I think for folks that are looking to get into it, I'm going to go ahead and just say, you have Jose's information, go ahead and call him, and you can probably pick his ear about how to do this and see what's possible for you. So again, glad you're here, because oftentimes we have these questions and personally it's like, I don't know. So anyways, glad you're here. Next question I have is for Jacobs. And just so we kind of get a flavor for, how the CREATE program projects work and just generally kind of sense of opportunities. Can you possibly speak to, if you know this, how many subs you have working on the P2 design project, and then just kind of what kind of subs you have?
Sure. We have 12 sub-consultants, 9 of which are DBE firms. So the consultants are doing kind of everything I listed in one of my last slides. So they're doing, we have community outreach, we have permitting and utilities and stakeholder engagement. We have landscape architecture, so that kind of goes with the community engagement team. We have structural support, civil roadway engineering support. We have electrical. We have survey and geotech, vibration monitoring, and permits and utilities. Those are the main areas that our 12 subs are covering on that project.
Awesome, thanks. I think what's important for those of us on the call just to know is that, as Jennifer's explained, there is a variety of contracting opportunities. And because many of the CREATE programs are federally funded, there are disadvantaged business enterprise requirements. So let's say you're not, a super advanced technical engineer, but your firm does do, as Jennifer mentioned, communications or community outreach. Like, there is a place for you on CREATE. So I just want to encourage folks to continue to stay as part of the conversation. Thanks so much, Jennifer.
Yep, thank you.
I also just want to note that I think Jennifer's slide mentioned the Mentor Protege program. And so that kind of reminds me of, we had a panel Tuesday morning with the public agencies that spoke to sort of how to work with them through procurement and some of their opportunities. And so just as a reminder to folks, if you are interested in possibly getting involved with IDOT's Mentor Protege program, which kind of pairs DBEs and larger firms to sort of, learn from each other and kind of help them mentor each other, definitely recommend watching Pam Simon from IDOT was in that presentation from Tuesday morning, and definitely recommend looking into that. all of the presentations from this week will be posted to the Create program website by May 7th, so by next Friday. And so if you missed one or you want to go back and hear more, the actual PDFs for the presentations as well as these recordings will be available on the Create program website. One question we have, and might be one that folks don't have an answer to, but if you do, we'd love to hear it. Do any companies on the line today provide internships for high school students in inner city areas? You know, part of why we ask that is because a lot of our Create program projects are in disadvantaged communities, and we're curious, you know, what possible pathways already exist regarding high school internship programs.
Hey, Chrissy, excuse me, this is Sam Tuck too, and I just want to add on to that. One of the things that we're looking at in the Create program, pretty much a lot of people are aware of it, we've received so many federal grants from FRA, from FHWA. One of the new criteria for the grants are racial equity. So within our environmental footprint, this is one of the things we have been looking at for the environmental justice is to provide economic growth. One of the things is if a kid is working, getting the experience that keeps them out of trouble. I can say that for myself as a kid growing up in the area. And I'm at the position I'm in now as the Bureau Chief over the Create Rail Freight program with Illinois Department of Transportation. We had to really reach out to our kids and give them an opportunity to let them understand what these things are. So if you do have these programs, it's very welcome with the Create program. Just want to, you know, reiterate what Chrissy said and put a little emphasis on it, more emphasis. It's imperative that we do that for our brown and Black and women. We got to get these kids out here. I mean, to every gender, every race, everything, we need to really get them involved to understand. So it takes a whole village to raise these kids. It does. So please, if you do have it, just let's work on it. And if you don't, we have avenues where we're trying to work on that and bring that in, especially when we're working with CPS.
Jillian, I think you were gonna perhaps respond to that.
I was. I can't say that we offer internships for high school students, but we do to local community colleges and colleges in the area. And so, but what we do in the high schools is we will go and at a time when we could, and maybe this will be able to get picked up soon, but we would do kind of present engineering principles to their science classes. And so we'd have a couple of our engineers maybe work on a bridge design activity or some other type of fun creative activity. So those are some of the ways that we are engaging our local community. And we always look for ways to increase those opportunities.
And just to sort of follow up on what Sam said earlier, for folks that maybe are not familiar with the CREATE program, so our largest project is the 75th Street Corridor Improvement Project. And so it's actually 4 component projects and it's kind of one master project. And Jennifer's team from Jacobs is working on that. But I just want to let folks know that if you go to their website, which is 75thsip.org, there's a community benefits tab. And that's a really great way to learn more about what the CREATE program is currently doing regarding kind of, youth engagement, local communities, and some of our education programs, which is, like, as Jillian said, similar things regarding visiting high school students and getting them involved in projects, same with elementary school students. So if you want to learn more about Mr. Tuck's call to action, definitely check out the 75thsip.org website. Another question that I have, and I'm hoping perhaps Scott can answer this, and if not, Scott, let me know. But I think in addition to railroads, being sort of known for, tough insurance requirements, there's always also the element of safety and safety first. I'm curious if you can talk at all regarding safety and working with the railroads in that regard. All right. If not.
There we go. Sorry
There
about that.
Okay, I was
Okay.
like, I see that coming. Perfect. Thanks, Scott.
Right. All of our survey staff, all of our field personnel, the environmentalists and the surveyors go through the Erail Safe, safety training and credentialing process. So that's kind of that's the baseline requirement for most of the Class 1 freight hauling railroads. Some of the short haul rail lines also have their own independent, safety trainings that we have to participate in. There are 2 short haul rail lines in Indiana that have separate training from the Erail Safe. So that is the Erail Safe is kind of the starting point, for that process.
That's really great to know. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I will say just for my own element, it's interesting working on the railroads as a public involvement professional, because when we have our in-person meetings, it always starts the safety briefing where it is, where are the restrooms, who's CPR certified, where's the defibrillator, don't trip over the cord. So I just want to really emphasize that when it comes to working with the CREATE program, it's safety first is always kind of the mentality. And then also, as Sam said, community engagement. So for firms that want to work on CREATE, the more that you can kind of bring those sort of elements into the conversation, I think the better that you will, the better your company will do in terms of possible contracting opportunities. So if there are any additional questions from the audience, please go ahead and enter them into the chat right now. Otherwise, I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Sam Tuck with the Illinois Department of Transportation to close us out. And it looks like no more. So Sam, go for it. Thank you, sir.
Oh, we have one question there. Chrissy, you want to throw that out? I think that's a question.
Which one is it?
I think somebody was talking about high schools and so forth. It just popped up. Maybe there was somebody sending something to me.
Oh, I think it's just a firm letting us know that they provide these opportunities. Hire 360 has a youth engagement program for high school students introducing them to construction trades, which is great to remember. So Hire 360 is one of our attendees this week. All attendees we posted to the CREATE program website. So if you're curious to see who else attended this event, that's a great place to see who else was here. So Hire 360.
That's great. Appreciate it. That's really good, and I'm glad to see that. So as Chrissy said, I'm glad everyone was able to participate. Hopefully you was able to participate all this week, earlier in the game, Monday when we started this. Hope this was valuable information for you. I see that we did something a little different than what we usually do. And even under the circumstances that we had to deal with the pandemic and not being able to view, see each other person to person. It was still amazing for us to have the opportunity to do this and still keep things moving. I applaud everyone who is doing that and still working and making the economic growth here in the state of Illinois with, like I said, under all these circumstances with the pandemic. But I need you to stay in touch with us. If we did not address any questions that you had on here, you think about it last minute, please get in contact with us. As you can see, here's our email, info@createprogram.org. Our email is there. Our website, createprogram.org. We're on Facebook, as you can see, and we're on Twitter. Please follow us. Stay in touch. We welcome all of the comments that we can get because we want to get better and we want to be able to help and provide so everybody can participate in this huge program, CREATE, and even on 75th Street SIP. So again, thank everyone for participating today and even for the whole event. Chrissy, I'm gonna let you close it out. You've been doing such a great job. So I think that's pretty much it. And thank you.
What more is there to say? I just, as you know, as Sam and everyone has said, thank you all. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we look forward to staying in touch. So thanks, everybody.